Game 4. And with that, we welcome you to TNT NBA Tip-Off presented by Auto Trader. Ernie Johnson, Shaquille O'Neal, Kenny the Jet Smith, and Charles Barkley waiting all day for this one because this series has really gotten good all of a sudden. 2 games apiece as we wait for Game 5 an hour from now. The action will be great tonight. There will be a poignant moment before they tip off tonight, and we will be bringing that to you live as the memory of the 10 students who were killed at Santa Fe High School last Friday. A ceremony will be held, and the players on the Houston side will be wearing the Santa Fe High School colors on their Rocket uniforms tonight as they play Game 5.
Houston Rockets fans are the best in basketball.
And so that will come your way closer to the top of the hour, and it's going to be I believe the choir from the high school is going to be here to sing the national anthem. Members of the senior class are being treated to the game tonight as we remember what happened a week ago. Meantime, we play Game 5 of this series, and with the memories of Game 4 pretty fresh, as Golden State had the double-digit lead in the fourth quarter, let it get away, let the home court advantage get away. Andre Iguodala didn't play in that game. Klay Thompson got hurt in that game. What is their status for this game? Let's go to David Aldridge. DA?
EJ, Andre Iguodala is out tonight with that left knee contusion he suffered in Game 3. Steve Kerr said he was dying to play, but the fact of the matter is he still hasn't been able to run since he suffered that injury in the fourth quarter of Game 3, so he's not playing. Klay Thompson is going to play. He's out here now warming up, no knee brace, and got through practice, got through shoot-around this morning without too many ill effects. Now, obviously, we will see how effective he can be once you really are playing, but he's out there right now. The Warriors know that no matter who's on the floor, they have to play better than they did in Game 4, especially in the fourth quarter where the ball stuck and they lost their home court advantage.
When we watch the film, it's pretty evident the things that we need to do differently on the offensive end for 48 minutes to sustain that effort, to get better shots, make them work a little bit more.
We just want to be, put us in good positions to score and, get everybody involved. So for me especially, I got to do a better job of catching the ball closer.
So definitely guys are pissed off, but encouraged as well. I love the way this team responds when our back is against the wall. I don't mind our backs being against the wall because I know, what we're capable of, and I know the level of focus and intensity level that this team's bring when that is the case.
Now, the Warriors played a short rotation in Game 4, and it looked like they ran out of gas at both ends of the floor down the stretch. So you can expect Steve Kerr to maybe go to a longer rotation tonight to try to get his star players a little more rest so that they're fresher down the stretch, EJ.
All right, thank you, DA. And again, we'll see what he does with Andre Iguodala unavailable tonight. Meantime, Houston went with 7 players the other night in Game 4. That's all Mike D'Antoni played.
Yeah, that's why he keep hearing these guys make excuses about they got tired. They had a 12-point lead, so they just didn't play well. The offense became stagnant. They took some awful shots. But the main thing I hate when they said it doesn't get the Rockets credit. The Rockets won that game. I thought one of the subtle difference, and we talked about it before Game 4, Ernie. Chris Paul was the primary ball handler in the last 5 minutes of that game. He got Rizzo going a couple times. He got Eric going. So I think that was a little subtle change Mike D'Antoni made in the fourth quarter.
And in that fourth quarter, it was a 25-12 Houston advantage as Golden State went 3 for 18 in the quarter. They had 4 turnovers. They only had 1 assist. They did not make a three-pointer in that decisive quarter, and that came after KD and Klay Thompson and Curry and Draymond Green all played the entire third quarter, in which they outscored them 34-17 and had those 18-3 and 25-8 runs. But that last possession was all discombobulated, Shaq.
Yeah, it was discombobulated, very uncharacteristic of the Golden State. A lot of people question why Steve didn't call a timeout.
And Draymond trying to there.
Yes, yeah, Draymond's trying to call a timeout, but it's a veteran team, usually know what to do. You would think that, Kevin with his length would probably take two or three more dribbles, get to a spot and take that last shot. But he gave it to Clay. Clay wasn't ready. I know Clay is a guy that can catch the ball and shoot it right away, but his feet wasn't set. He wasn't in great possession, and they lost the game. But I agree with Chuck. The Rockets did a great job, especially on the defensive end, and they won that game. When you're up 12 and you're not shooting well, Chuck, you're right. You can't go to I'm tired.
Yeah, you can't pull that I'm tired card out. I mean, you're up 12. Everybody talk about Iguodala. Iguodala's a good player. But when they were up 12, they just said, man, we really miss Iguodala. But I tell you the main reason, Ernie, it takes away from what the Rockets did offensively and defensively.
That game started out, Kenny, 12-0 Golden State. And Mike D'Antoni said, there were so many people jumping off the Houston bandwagon, they were getting hurt. And he said, you know what? And if I had watched that 12-0 start, I might have jumped off the bandwagon too. But to their credit, they came back from that 12-point deficit and the 12-point deficit in the fourth quarter.
Well, he was watching it, so that means he jumped off for a second too. I think overall, as much as well as Houston played offensively, I did think defensively this was a stand that we had not seen in this series or even in the playoffs that they had to make. Defensively. So they did a great job defensively. Overall, again, I can understand why Golden State doesn't give Houston credit, because a couple of the reason is I thought they played selfish. It wasn't offensively, and that's not typical of what they have been doing. They typically have been giving the ball up and having others. I thought.
Let me show you a graphic. Okay. Again, this illustrates perfectly what you're talking about. Regular season, 29 assists per game. 69% of their field goals were assisted. And you see the numbers in the San Antonio series, like 27 and 68. The New Orleans series, about 31 assists, 71% of their field goals. And in this series, under 20 assists per game, but not even half their field goals have been assisted on.
But there's a reason why, Ernie, because the way the Rockets play defense, they've turned Kevin. Kevin has a little guard of him every time. So the the Warriors, instead of playing their regular way, they're trying to exploit Chris Paul and James Harden, who are trying to guard KD. So sometimes, Ernie, when something's so easy, you kind of fall in love with it. Like you said, he's got a 6'1" guy guarding him, and they have become very complacent and very stagnant.
And, we're taught sometimes, especially as great players, when there's a mismatch, forget the play. This guy's too small, he can't guard me, let me go. And they have done that, and it has been taken away from what they do.
And also, Kevin's making it worse too, Ernie, because he's not taking advantage of the little guy guarding him. He's shooting a fadeaway jumper most of the time. I guarantee you if he would go down in the post, they would have to double. He gets the ball too far on the floor, and they don't have to double. Because if he makes the shot, it's perfect, but he wasn't making the shot. If he would go down in the post when he's got James Harden or Chris Paul guarding him, that would force the Rockets to double him.
One other thing the Rockets have done defensively, after Klay Thompson in game one had so many catch and shoot opportunities, and that's what he likes to do. He had 15 of those. He's had a total of 16 in the next 3 games. So they've toughened up in the defensive end on Klay Thompson. They've taken that away to an extent, and as a result, this series is even, and this place tonight, Kenny, will be rocking.
Well, they've taken it away, and so has Golden State. Again, what Chuck said about the mismatch, and Shaq said about trying to take advantage of the mismatch. Because at times, yes, you should take advantage of that. But then after a while, sometimes let's run our play. Let's run our secondary break. Let's run the things that we are good at, regardless of the situation. What we've all said about, and everyone, not just us, everyone who watches Golden State basketball would say what makes them unique is that they have 3 great players and they share the basketball. And they don't worry about a mismatch or what have you at times. The ball still moves like a ping pong. It is getting stuck like there's honey jam on the basketball and they can't get rid of it.
Would you say that was the first time you ever saw the Warriors play hero basketball?
First time ever that I looked at the team and said, I don't like watching this game. If I don't like watching this as a basketball fan, the way they're playing, that's the first time I've ever watched them and said that.
Yeah, but would you also say it's hero ball because they're not making the shots? If they're making the shots and everything.
You can't make a steady diet of those.
No.
You can't make a steady diet of those.
No. That's why I said if they were making the shots, it's just
I don't know if you can make a steady diet of those type of shots that they were getting.
But they just wasn't getting them in flow, Shaq.
Right.
They were going just one-on-one, shoot a jumper. That's not